What's going on, guys? Ted from Immersion here, and welcome to another episode of It Builds Character. This is a show where I take 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, or let me rephrase that. This is a show where I take pop culture characters, usually from some form of existing media, whether it be a video game, a movie, a comic book, cartoon, anime, and I try to replicate them as a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons character. I use a certain set of rules that I use every time to try to keep things relatively balanced as best they can be. Those rules are the characters are built at 12th level. The characters are built using as minimal amount of homebrew as possible. Typically, we stretch that when it comes to magic items for a lot of the characters. We also build them using standard array ability scores, so that is 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. Yes, I understand that will make some characters that should not have an 8 in any ability score have an 8 in a given ability score, but that's, it is what it is. And then again, also, if you decide you want to try to play one of these classes at a given table, whether it be in a home game or Adventures League, with the exception, again, of the magic items, these characters are very easily replicatable if you want to try to do that yourself. So I have a big, long list going well into next year of things for people want me to build, and part of the problem, and I will full take the onus of that, is that because this is a stream where it's just me, and I'm trying to get better about that, and, it's been a real crazy time with dad stuff and home renovations, so honestly the past couple weeks I just went to go put my son down to sleep and fell asleep in his room and did not wake up until 6 a.m. the next morning. So I missed the opportunity to stream, and I do apologize to you guys for that. I do feel bad for missing out on that. So we're up now on episode number 42, and the suggestion for this was to take the Strider class from the video game Dragon's Dogma and attempt to replicate that in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I'll be upfront with you right now. I'm familiar loosely with Dragon's Dogma. I have not actually played Dragon's Dogma. I know what the combat, I understand kind of how it works, and I've played a lot of other games that are very similar to it in nature, and I've done research about the different classes and things like that. So I think, again, another one, we're going to have a pretty, I'm going to say relatively quick episode. I could be wrong, but because we're trying to replicate a video game character where they use a specific set of items and they have a certain skill set that is defined in such a way that they are a video game character. It's not like trying to build a superhero or an anime character where they have power levels that range off the charts. We're trying to replicate a video game, which in and of itself is supposed to be balanced and has you be able to set points in different things to level up your character. That translates well to Dungeons and Dragons. So what is the Strider class in Dragon's Dogma? So they are a class that primarily uses dual daggers and a short bow. Right there, we've got someone that can wield dual daggers and a short bow. That's pretty much every class in Dungeons & Dragons. Let's dive a little bit further into what else they can do. They typically wear light armor, so again, that gives us some opportunity there. They are very swift and high dexterity and powerful in melee. And can do close range attacks with their arrows. Unfortunately, there's no real way to do that in 5th edition. I mean, you can shoot in a close distance, but if you're within 5 feet, you're going to suffer disadvantage no matter what. They're usually very fast climbers, and they're suited for climbing onto larger creatures, which there's no specific rule. There's a variant rule in Dungeon Master's Guide for climbing onto larger creatures. And one of their things is there's a stamina mechanic in Dragon's Dogma, and they lose stamina slower than other classes when climbing. So the way I'm going to translate that to 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is they don't have this. So anybody can climb, but you usually climb at half your movement speed. So I'm going to say this would be giving you essentially the ability to climb at your movement speed, or even perhaps have a greater than your normal walking speed as a climb speed. It also says, let's see, they are good at fast movement and dodging enemy attacks. Short bows are best suited to arrow strikes at short distances. I mean, that kind of functions in the range mechanic in 5th edition. What else does it say here? They lack magic. It says their attacks are based around physical strength, which is interesting because I immediately was going rogue on this class because evasive, fast moving, heavy hitting with daggers and a short bow, wears light armor, good at climbing, good at flipping, tumbling, and things like that. Abilities to trap, stun, trick foes, the only class in that series that can steal from other players. This seems like a rogue to me. But then they go out and say that they're based a lot around physical strength. And that kind of contradicts a rogue. Now, there's nothing to say that you couldn't be a strength-based rogue. It doesn't necessarily behoove you to be one, but you could. Because I think a lot of people forget about this, myself included, pretty often. To use a sneak attack weapon, to get sneak attack, which is the main crux of being a rogue, it either needs to be a ranged weapon, like a short bow, or it needs to be a finesse weapon. So a finesse weapon is a weapon that lets you use your strength or dexterity for it. Most people use a finesse weapon to use the dexterity part of, that's why they want the finesse weapon, because they can use their dexterity and they can be a high dex class. But there's nothing that says you can't be a 20 strength fighter wielding a rapier just as effectively as a 20 dexterity rogue. So we might actually do a funky build where we build a strength and dexterity based rogue so we can hit both of those boxes. Also says they have a boost to their stamina, which would be Constitution. Welcome back and congrats on the new... Thank you. Ranger seems to lead, but Fighter and Rogue both could work. And one thing that's important based on the wiki, strength in the game isn't just D&D strength, it's more physical abilities versus a magic stat. Yeah, so, yes, thank you for, Endless, for providing that to me, yeah. So, I guess that's something I also need to think about, and you bring it up, and I think that you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Strength in Dungeons & Dragons doesn't necessarily equate to the same thing in other systems and other games. Like, attack power may not be based on the character's physical strength. Strength may just be their physical damage versus magical damage, which is what it sounds like. So, you could do... The other part is there's a ranger class in Dragon's Dogma. There's an assassin class in Dragon's Dogma. There's a fighter class in Dragon's Dogma. So there are things that are pretty much designed... They have a seemingly direct corollary to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. So the ranger in Dragon's Dogma is more of a longbow based. Like, longbow is your primary weapon, and daggers would be your backup weapon. The assassin, daggers would be your primary weapon with a bow as your backup weapon. And it's my understanding that the strider is sort of a good mix of both, and their sort of utility comes from the ability to climb on enemies and deal extra damage that way. Now, there isn't anything in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons that gives you a specific bonus to climbing onto a creature and attacking it. So you can do that, and the game rewards you by giving you advantage, and the creature needs to take, like, basically actions to try to get you off of their back. But I think I'm leaning towards Rogue. I think everything else fits, right? The ability to climb, the ability to use traps, which isn't technically something you need to be a rogue to do in Dungeons & Dragons, but the ability to steal from other players, the evasiveness, the tumbling, the quick movement, a lot of those things correlate very well to the rogue, so I think that's what we're going to go with. So we're going to jump over here to D&D Beyond, where you can see I have it built up in here. Now, one thing I'm not certain about is I don't know what the races are in Dragon's Dogma. From the images that I saw, I think it's just human. So we're going to build a human. We're going to build a variant human Strider here. So let us keep going. All right, well, languages we're not worried about. We definitely know we want to put points in dexterity. Oh, my mouse is being annoying. Oh, come on. Well, this may be a short episode if this doesn't work. What the hell? It's double clicking every time I single click. Razor, what are you doing to me right now? We'll pull this off to the side and see if we can edit this on the fly. Is there any weird macros set up? Nope. Yeah, that may be what we end up doing here. Nope. Well. I mean, this is an old Naga, right? This has been around with me for a long time. I've had this thing for, God, 10 years plus. So it's, you know, it's seen better days. But normally this isn't as big of an issue. No, this is definitely my mouse. I've seen it happening in other places. What the hell? How am I gonna fix this? Yeah, right click works fine. Left click. Yeah, I thought maybe there was like a weird macro setting where I'd set something up to do a double click. Can I do anything with my mouse here? Performance. Customize. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, this is really annoying. Alright, well. I have to see what I have as far as secondary mouse options. We're gonna have to order a new mouse, I think. Alright, stand by, folks. Let me go see if I have a backup mouse. I think I do. The box is selected. Can use keys. Oh, that could be something. Let's see. No, because as soon as I... wait. Alright, you know what? You're right. No, you're not bothering me. That's gonna be how we're gonna have to do this. Acrobatics. Constitution. Choose a feat. What are we gonna choose as our feat? Is athlete the one that gives you climbing? Climbing doesn't cost you extra movement. That works, and we'll give it a bonus to dexterity. Alright. So, it's not the most optimal way to do things here, but it's gonna work. Rogue. Okay, level 12. Yeah, it's, this is a 20, I think this is one of the 20, this is the old model of Naga too, so this has been, like I said, this has been with me for a very long time. Alright, proficiencies. Athletics for climbing. Gonna probably want, perception, because it's the best skill in the game. Stealth, because we're a sneaky boy. And sleight of hand, because we steal stuff. We're going to want to put our expertise in probably acrobatics and athletics to start. Then we're going to jump down here. Our second expertise, we're going to go with stealth and thieves' tools if we're going to be stealing and setting traps and whatnot. Let's go ahead and put in our ability scores here too. Standard array. We're going to put our 15 in dexterity. Our 13 in con. We'll put our 14 in strength, just 2, what the hell. Go 12, 10, 8. So that's going to give us what as a starting dexterity? 17. Okay. Let's see. Now here's where we get our options on our archetype. We know they don't have any magic, so we're going to avoid things like the Arcane Trickster. There's an assassin class in Dragon's Dogma, so just for pure ease of things, I think we're not going to bother doing that. Let's see. Let's go with... see, Scout could work, right? Because of the way... I just like Scout a lot. That's actually my favorite rogue archetype. Swashbuckler doesn't fit. Inquisitive and Mastermind don't fit. So it's essentially a toss-up between Scout and Thief. So part of the reason why I would suggest Thief is because one of the main functions of this class is their ability to climb really well. And Thieves get second story work, they get good climbing, I think they might even get a boosted jumping ability as well. So that kind of fits that. Scouts get the sneaky movement to move around a little bit faster and extra movement speed. So that, I don't know, what do you guys think in the chat based on what we've talked about so far? Do you think the Strider falls more in the line of a Thief or more in the line of a Scout? Let's see. Well, let's jump ahead to ability scores here. Mobile feat for extra movement. Okay, I'm. You know what? You're here and you're active in the chat. Endless. Thief it is. Let's choose. Now let's look at feats. Now, what other feat can we take to give ourselves a +1 dexterity? Is there another one? I don't remember. I don't think so. We took athlete. Mobile doesn't give you one. We're not going to take resilience because we already have dexterity saving throws. No, I don't think there is. Or nothing that's worth taking. So let's go ahead and take mobile here, because we know we want that. We have 17. Alright, so let's give ourselves... Here we'll go... Ability score improvement. We're going to go Constitution, Dexterity. Here we're going to go... Ability score improvement, we're going to go Dexterity, Dexterity again, and then for 12, we're going to take a feat, and we're going to take Resilient Con to boost our, what's called, our stamina, as they had said there. So that's pretty good. That's a solid set of stats. I'm happy with that. Our background, yeah. So let's get our background, I don't know, soldier, I guess, maybe. Is there like a scout background? I forget. Outlander. Yeah, we'll just go with soldier. I think that's fine. Intimidation, we get an extra skill of our choice. Let's take survival. Survival seems like it makes sense. And then we'll go take a look at our class here. So let's see how we did with just base what we have here. So here is our Strider class, as developed as a 12/12 human rogue. So we've got Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence saving throws. Eventually we're going to get Wisdom saving throws as well, so that's a nice benefit. We know we're going to have to give ourselves daggers, because that's the thing we have. Dagger. Go ahead and add that. And we know we're going to have to give ourselves a short bow, because we know that's a thing that we have. Add that. We know we can use a light armor, so studded leather armor. Add that as well. So what are we going to get out of this? Because we are a rogue and we're trying to replicate that class. So we're going to get sneak attack, so we're going to get boosted damage. Just outright, that makes us more powerful. They're a very powerful class, and the damage they can do, we're going to get that through sneak attack. Cunning action, they are very quick, they are very dodgy and things. We're going to get our extra movement speed, our ability to hide, and our ability to disengage from foes in cunning action. As a thief, we're going to be able to make sleight of hand checks and thieves tools to disarm traps or open locks with our use an object action as a bonus action, which works because they're the only class in the game that can steal from other players. We're also going to get second story work. Climbing no longer costs us extra movement speed. Our climb is currently 40 feet then, and when we make a running jump, we increase that distance by 5. They are a jumpy class, so that works well. We're again able to dodge attacks and be evasive. We're going to get reduced damage from incoming attacks via uncanny dodge. Almost immunity to dexterity saving throws when it comes to evasion. We're going to have advantage on stealth checks if we move no more than half our speed with supreme sneak. And we're going to have reliable talent, which means for our jumping and sneaking abilities like acrobatics or athletics, the minimum roll we can possibly get for acrobatics is a 23 and athletics is a 10, or sorry, is a 20, because anything we're proficient in, we can't roll under a 10 on the die. We also are going to have, again, we saw proficiency, we have the athlete feat, so when we stand up from prone, it only uses 5 feet of our movement. Climbing doesn't cost us extra movement anyway. We can make running long jumps. We only move 5 feet rather than 10, again, boosting around our jumping ability. We have the mobile feat, so when we dash, we can dash through difficult terrain without taking extra movement. And when we make a melee attack against a creature, we don't provoke attacks of opportunities when we leave. So all of these abilities are really giving us that evasiveness that we want to have for this character. The speed, the agility, the evasiveness, the damage. I think it works pretty well. And again, we know they use daggers and short bows and wear light armor. I mean, it's a video game, right? So you could probably sit here and be like, well, the best armor set for this class is this. And the best this for that is, the best weapons is this weapon and this weapon. And we were only really trying to replicate the class, as it were. And I mean, you can argue that, yes, we should attempt to replicate a version of it, but we were just given, try to make the Strider in 5th edition, not try to make my build of the Strider or someone's build of the Strider. Because I don't really know what the weapons, I'm sure there's a ton of different mods and things you can add to weapons to make the specific best build. One thing I do know is I think they have something called a shed cape, which is like basically sort of functions almost like a shield, a cape that can help deflect blows. So we're going to go with a cloak of protection to kind of facilitate that, which makes sense. Go ahead and add that here. Cloak of protection. So now we have a boosted AC slightly and boosted saving throws as well. I mean, again, I guess we could go here and say we're going to have probably a magic weapon. So I'll tell you what, we'll go with a dagger. We'll give a +1 dagger. We'll go with a +1 short bow. And we'll go with +1 studded leather armor. Just because I guess that's probably, we would have some sort of magic. Studded leather +1. Equip, equip, equip. And we'll go here, we'll remove, remove, remove. So there. Now we've got magical things, so we can overcome magic damage resistance. And we're probably, I mean, realistically, if we're this far into the life cycle, I don't know what this would be. The equivalency, if 20 is the maximum level in D&D and we're at level 12, I think that's probably around level 100 in Dragon's Dogma, because I think it goes up to 200. So we probably have at least magical gear in some aspect. But honestly, it seems like trying to replicate the Strider in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons is honestly just making a Thief Rogue and make like a decent Thief Rogue. We put some extra points in Strength just to facilitate our climbing. Normally, I'd probably dump Strength as if I was making a Rogue character. Maybe put this 14 in Wisdom and the 12 in Intelligence. Put the 10 in Charisma and the 8 in Strength, but they specifically are really good at climbing. Climbing is typically a strength-based ability in 5th edition, so we need to make sure we cover that. I mean, all in all, this is a completely viable class, or viable character that you could build. There's nothing crazy here, and the abilities and the magic items we have are all right off the shelf, and there's not too much, really, like, you would, I say, be hard-pressed to find a DM that wouldn't be okay over the course of the game letting you get these 4 simple magic items. So, Yeah, I mean, not every It Builds character needs to be rocket science. You know, we don't need to sit there for hours and debate things. You know, sometimes it just comes together, and this is one of those times. So I think, you know, thank you everyone who came to hang out, but I think we're gonna actually be able to call this one a little bit short. Um, and you know what? That's okay. I'm happy we got the content out here. Thank you guys again so much for coming out and checking out the channel. Let's restart the music and get us some happy times, and we'll jump back here to the main camera. So, thank you guys again for watching. If you're unfamiliar, this is It Builds character. I'm going to put a link in the chat. We can go over here and see the plan. Let's jump back over here to see the plan for future episodes. You can see all the times I missed throughout the year because I'm just a bad streamer. Let's come over here. So here's like a whole just section where I just flat out missed them. Then I came back strong. I missed 2 weeks, and I came back strong again. Then my son was born. Then I came back again. Then I missed 3 weeks, but now we're back on track. Strider class from Dragon's Dogma. Next week is going to be Ben 10 from the cartoon Ben 10. So that should be an interesting build. But you can see if we go down here, based on some of the suggestions thus far, we're into June of next year. If I did all of these without stopping, we'd go from now till June of next year. What we'll likely do is cap at Predator and kind of around Christmas time. Actually, we're probably not going to do an episode on Christmas, but we'll cap it right around here, and we'll call that Season 2, and then we'll roll into Season 3 with the start of the new year, doing Dante from Devil May Cry. But I do take any suggestions that you guys may have, whether you leave them in the comments here. And if I forgot one of the ones that you suggested, please remind me, and I'll do my best to go back and add it in. You can see all of the previous videos that I've done here. You can also, I will also go down here and export the sheet out to PDF, and you'll see it pop up right here. And this is all very well done and written out for you. I will upload a copy of the sheet to a Google Drive folder where you guys can go and download a copy of it for yourself, whether that's to use as an NPC or to just use as your own character in the game. It's really your call. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much going to be it. There will not be, there's no planned content from now until Monday, where I'm going to be trying something new. It seemed to be pretty well received by folks on the internet. What is that? I'm going to be attempting to do a world building stream on Monday. I've never done this before, and I actually really, the more I think about it, the more I really like the concept, because I need to do more world building for the homebrew world that I've created. I know that. My players don't know that, but I know that. And I have a hard time finding time to just sit down and write and build a world. And if I'm going to lock it into a stream, then that gives me a dedicated time for an hour or 2 hours to sit there with folks in the chat as a sounding board and work on stuff together. There are a lot of folks who don't really understand the concept of world building, and they just want any information that I could provide to them. And, you know, we'll probably work on stuff that are like less used cities or continents than the players may actually run into in my homebrew world. But I would love to have your guys' feedback and assistance in building out the world, coming up with NPCs and laws and maybe historical events and things like that. And it's also like a good, interesting writing prompt and, you know, brain exercise to involve a whole group of people with opinions and to try to help them have you build your world. So we're going to try that this coming Monday. We're going to see how it goes. It'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern on Monday, October 7th. I don't know how it's going to go. We're going to give it a shot. It's going to be kind of a shot in the dark. Maybe, you know, be lightning in a bottle and it'll be great and we'll just keep doing it. Maybe it'll fail miserably and then I'll probably end up running a campaign for other people instead and we'll stream that on Monday. I really don't know what it's going to be like. I'm excited by the concept and I hope it works. Next Tuesday, we're very excited. It's going to be Celine Game Episode 1. Celine, who normally plays in our Tuesday night game here in person. We hit 3,000 followers on Twitch, by the way. Thank you guys so much for that. And she's going to run her first. This is, I think, only the second or third time she's ever run a game as a Dungeon Master in Dungeons & Dragons at all. She's typically always a player. And this is obviously going to be the first time she's ever going to be running anything on stream. So that should be really fun to do. And this is going to be the first time in history Sean, Jake, Pat, and I get to all play together as players. So it'll be the first game with that. We don't really know what to expect. There's probably going to be a bunch of voices and wonky character stuff. So it should be a good time, and that'll be at 9 p.m. on Tuesday, October 8th, Eastern Time. And then I'll be back next Wednesday with apparently Ben 10. So that should be interesting. Again, I really, really appreciate all you guys. If you're if you entered the giveaway and you won, congratulations. I will be sending those prizes out probably Friday. So and be on the lookout. Make sure you stay up to date, subscribed, and following all the social medias and things. Because when the new Tyranny of Dragons Collector's Edition book comes out, I'll be doing a giveaway of that. And when the new Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus comes out, I'll be doing a giveaway of that as well. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching Endless. Thank you for hanging out and keeping me company. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week. Good night.